Hi, in this video, I'll be going through what is cumulative frequency table. First, let's understand what is cumulative frequency. We know that frequency is the number of times an event occurs. So for instance, if last week it rained 2 times, 2 is the frequency. However, cumulative frequency is the sum of the frequencies of an event and the events below it. So if this week it rained 3 times, together in these 2 weeks, the total number of times it rained is 2 plus 3, which is 5. Therefore, 5 is the cumulative frequency. But let's look at an example. In this example, it says that the number of goals scored by 20 hockey teams during a weekend are given in the following frequency table. So on the left side of the column, this shows the number of goals. On the right side is the number of teams. And the number of teams here is called the frequency. So how to read this table is there's one team that scored 1 goal. 2 teams scored 2 goals. 5 teams scored 3 goals. 7 teams scored 4 goals. 4 teams scored 5 goals. And only 1 team scored 6 goals. So all of these here represents the teams, and if you sum up all this will give us 20 teams. From this frequency table, we can construct the cumulative frequency table. But first, let's understand what's the difference between a cumulative frequency table and a frequency table. Now, when we talk about frequency tables or cumulative frequency tables, we'll be using this symbol very often. If you recall, this symbol means less than or equals to. So on the left column, we have the number of goals. X is less than or equals to 1. So having said that, it means less than 1 could be 0, but equals to 1. So maximum can only reach to 1 goal. Next one, we have X is less than or equals to 2. So you can have as low as 0 goals up to 2. And then we do the same thing for the rest. So all these tells us the class of each of the class in this cumulative frequency table. So all this means that, for instance, X is less than or equals to 3. That means these teams scored between 0 to 3 goals. Now we're going to fill in what is the number of teams which scored this number of goals or fewer. So this is what we call the cumulative frequency. So if you think about it, right, there are no teams that scored 0 goals, but only 1 team scored 1 goal. Since we want teams that scored between 0 to 1 goals, then the cumulative frequency for this class will be 1, based on this data given. Next one, we want teams that scored between 0 to 2 goals. So we know that there is 1 team that scored 1 goal and 2 teams that scored 2 goals. So these are what we want for this class of table, of this frequency table. So we have 1 plus 2 giving us 3. Next one, we want teams that scored between 0 to 3 goals. So we want to have 1, 2, and 3 goals. So we're going to add up 1 plus 2 plus 5 is 8. You can do it this way, or if you want, you can use the previous frequency and add with the next frequency. For instance, if you want teams between 0 to 4 goals, we know that the teams that scored between 1 to 3 goals is 8. We can just add 7 to the frequency to get the cumulative frequency for this class. So we're going to do this similarly for the next one. We're going to find teams that scored between 0 to 5 goals. So we'll have 15 plus the next frequency, 4. Get 19. Finally, we want teams that scored between 0 to 6 goals, and that is everybody, every team. So we need to add one more. 19 plus 1 equals to 20. So this is the table for cumulative frequency, where you need to add the previous class to get the next cumulative frequency. Now let's look at another example. This time around, it says that 35 students were asked how long they each took to travel to school. The results are summarized in the following cumulative frequency table. So we start off with cumulative frequency first. So the same thing happens here. Here you see that x is less than or equals to 10, meaning we will have from 0 minutes up to 10. The next one, you can have 0 minutes up to 20 minutes. 0 minutes up to 30. So what this means is that if it's, let's say, 0 to 20, it includes the 10 minutes as well, right? If it's from 0 to 30, it includes the 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and 30 minutes. 0 to 40, it means it includes the 10, 20, and 30 minutes, as well as 40 minutes. Finally, for the last class, it includes 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and 50 minutes. And given this cumulative frequency table, we can actually find the frequency table. So, by this time around, we want only from 10 minutes to 20 minutes. So we know that from 0 to 10 minutes, there is none. We know that from 0 to 20 minutes, there is 15. So if I draw for you a timeline to illustrate this, let's draw a nicer line. Okay, if I have 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50, right? So I know that from 0 to 10, there's actually none. From 0 to 20, we have 15. That means from 0 to 20, we have 15. Now, question asks for 10 to 20, so they only want this part here. So we need to take 15 minus 0, get you 15 as the frequency for this class. Let's try another one. If we want only from 20 to 30, we know that this is 15. So this is 15. Next one, between 20 to 30, which is this part here, is what we want to find, but we need to use the information given from here because 0 to 30, there are 30 students who took this much. So if we draw this out, from 0 to 30 is 30 students. Therefore, the number of students who took between 20 to 30 minutes will be 30 minus 15, and you get 15. Okay. So we carry on doing the same thing for the next two classes. 30 to 40 minutes, we want this one. So we have between 0 to 40 as 32 students. So this up to here is 32 students. So we know that from 0 to 30 takes 30 minutes. Therefore, this class will only have 32 students minus 30 students. Only 2 students will have taken between 30 to 40 minutes. Last but not least, we have 0 to 50 as much as 35 students here. So to find this part, from 40 to 50, we'll take 35 minus 32 to give us this value here. Okay. So this is how you fill in frequency table. So in short, right, in summary, from frequency to cumulative frequency, you will actually plus. That was the previous example, but if you're going from cumulative frequency to frequency, you'll actually minus. That's a general rule. So let's take an example for you to try on your own. The following cumulative frequency table summarizes the height of 50 students. We have 0 for students with height 0 to 150 centimeters. 5 students whose height is from 0 to 155 centimeters. We have 12 students whose height is from 0 to 160 centimeters. We have 25 students whose height is between 0 to 165. We have 45 students whose height is between 0 to 170. And we have 50 students whose height between 0 to 175. So to complete the frequency table on the right side here, we only want 150 to 155. So we will take 155 up to 155, 5 students, minus 0, that will give us 5. 12 minus 0, give us 7. And then we have 25 minus 12, will give us 13. From 165 to 170, so we take up to 170, minus 25. So 45 minus 25 gives us 20. And last but not least, we want between 170 to 175. So we take this class up to 175 minus 170. So 15 minus 45. So this is how you find frequency from the cumulative frequency table. Let's answer some of the questions. You could also have this kind of questions in your tests or exams. So the following cumulative frequency table summarizes the heights of 50 students. So to understand this table, it's between 0 to 150, 0 to 155, 0 to 160, 0 to 165, 0 to 170, 0 to 175. And these are the cumulative frequencies. And they ask you find the percentage of students with a height of more than 170 centimeters. So the first thing you got to do is to find the number of students whose height is more than 170. So all this, right, from here to here, these are students whose height is up to 170. So we don't want students whose height is less than 170. We want students whose height is more than 170. Therefore, we are going to pick this class, right, which height is from 0 to 175. We're going to minus this class because these are the students whose height is only up to 170. So to find students with height more than 170, we'll take 50 students minus 45 and we get 5. So there are 5 students out of 50 students whose height is more than 170 centimeters. So to find the percentage, you take 5 over the total number of students times 100%. So that would be 10%. So 10% of the students has a height of more than 170 centimeters. Okay. So another question. To join the basketball team, the height of a student must be more than 160 centimeters. Questions ask for the final number of students who meet the requirement. So again, in this question, we want to find those with height more than 160. So we know that we're going to look at this class because this class tells us that the number of students whose height is maximum 160 is 12. So we want students more than 160. And we know that the total number of students is 50. So if 12 students has a height of maximum 160, that means the rest of them will have a height of more than 160 centimeters. So the number of students with height more than 160, we will take the total number of students, which is 50, minus this class, 12, and you get 38. And because question just asked for the number of students, we don't need to change the number. We don't need to do anything else. We'll just leave the answer as 38. Last but not least, one of the students is chosen at random. What is the probability that the student's height is at most 155 centimeters? So at most here means less than or equals to 155 centimeters. So it can be 0 until 155, right? It cannot go any higher. So that means it is less than or equals to 155. So once we've established this, we look at the correct class. We could be looking at this class. So there are actually 5 students whose height is at most 155 centimeters. But because we want to find probability, we can't just leave 5 as the answer. The probability of students with height of more at most 155 centimeters, we're going to put 5 over 50. So this is how you do probability. It's always the number that you want over the total number. Of course, fractions, we need to simplify them, so you get 1 over 10. So this is the probability.